Hello, y'all. How's it going? It is Sunday, or not Sunday. Jeez, I'm sorry. Where's my head at? I'm planning a Sunday stream. That's why I said Sunday. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday today. It's not viewer level time. This is not a viewer level stream, Axel. How y'all doing? This is a random revisit stream. What does that mean, you might wonder? Well, that means I'm going to replay, this old game that I love, actually. This game is fantastic. This game is underrated. This game is, dead in many respects. Used to have an online, scene, but now it doesn't. And, above all else, what I want people to walk away from this thinking is that this should be in Astrobot, because this was a PlayStation exclusive from over 10 years ago, and a damn good one at that. I think the year this came out, it was in my top 3, if not runner-up. I forget where it landed that year. Is the audio good? Is everything... Does everything sound good? As far as the music goes, as far as my voice goes, all good. There was a bit of technical issues before I started the stream today. That's why it's starting a fair bit later than usually a Tuesday stream would start. I usually like to start these at 8. It's more like 8:40 now. Before I started, my two webcams started disconnecting and not turning back on, and I had to update their like software to a new version that required me to also reset all the tracking and all that, how that works. So cameras, the position of them might look a little different. Like if we look at this preset, I'm not sure this exactly is how it was before, but Jesus. That correctly aimed? That looks weird. Let me make sure that's good in the future. Thank you, Rock Party. Sometimes the Pikmin come in at weird angles. Technology, you know, you have something that works well, and then you know, that's more like it. You have something that works well, and then you wake up one day and you find it's working weird now. Whatever. I've had a nice weekend, I'll say. I've had a nice weekend. Watched the last of that GDQ. A lot of good runs the last day of GDQ, huh? A lot of good runs there. That was nice. Then I watched a bunch of anime on Sunday. There was 100 Girlfriends is back. That season is as good as it ever was. Amazing first episode back. I am very excited about that going forward. I don't really have anything else to say up top, really. That's kind of been what's going on. Not the focus of this stream. The focus of the stream is this game here, Sound Shapes. Which, again, yeah, it's, well, not for everyone, I guess. Sound Shapes. Let me tell you about Sound Shapes. Sound Shapes is fruit eating anime is good. Yeah, I agree with that. I just watched the third episode? I forget. Whatever. Just watched an episode of that before the stream. Sound Shapes! Sound Shapes is a 2D platformer where you sort of like climb/jump through this world, and it's music-based. Every time you collect a collectible in this game, it plays a music note that is based on like where it is on the screen, as far as like where in the loop it is, as well as like the pitch of it. It'll make sense when we get into it, and also when you move 2 screens away from whatever it is, the music that note you can't hear it anymore. So it sort of uses this to like build up a song and move through different like arcs. And it also uses like different things in the environment to make additional stuff that contributes to the music. The music comes from people such as Beck. You might have heard of him. Dead Mouse contributed to this. I Am Robot and Proud, which I don't think that's something that people know about. But it's some like electronic band or something. And Jim something or other has like one of them. Also, it has like some art from like the Sword and Sworcery guys. It's cool. I don't think this game is that long. I think we can do it all tonight. With all the commotion over like the camera stuff, I left my controller over by my desk. I'm gonna throw to a break for 2 seconds, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna do this, okay? Okay. One more thing to say, like, before we get into it properly. It did used to have a online mode where you could download levels and, upload them as well. There's, like, an editor. I've made... Honestly, like, if I'm thinking about this, this was, like, the first game that I ever really made levels in. And I got 3 of them here, which I'll show you maybe at the end of the stream. I'm thinking let's do that at the end. These beats and melodies to earn trophies? I really don't know what this thing is. What the hell is this? Okay, that's some sort of tutorial thing that I completely missed. I just figured it out without the beat school, which I suppose teaches you like how to make a song, essentially, by placing these notes. It'll make sense when we get into it, folks. Like I said, there's 5 albums here. Hello World, music by I Am Robot and Proud, graphics by Cappy. Corporeal, music by Jim Guthrie, graphics by Superbrothers. That's the Sword and Sworcery folks. Beyonder, music by I Am Robot and Proud, graphics by Colin Manser. It's a cool looking world. D-Cade, music by Dead Mau 5, and graphics by PixelJam. Beck Cities, music by Beck, graphics by Pyramid Attack. And I don't know, this was really a real one here. Guess there's 3 levels here. This was like DLC, I think. I don't think that much of Do You Really Want to Hurt Me? This one was more like, we got this this car DLC. We can go through that like at the end, I guess, if there's time, but yeah. Oh, we should go through the tutorial first. That's probably the best way to like show what this is. Okay. Why is there an editor tutorial as well as Let's see it. Okay, hey. It's sound shapes. Let's play this. This is the tutorial. So you can see I'm this little guy. I jump around and stuff. I don't know how you would make this guy into an Astrobot but you know what? There's totally other characters in Astrobot that are already like little balls that have faces or eyes on them, so I don't think it'd be that out of sort. So yeah, you collect coins, I guess they're called coins, to add to the music. And you can see it plays on like a rhythm there. This will become more clear as we collect more coins. You can see sort of it's like a musical thing going across from left to right. As like a whatchamacallit? Like a synthesizer? Like a there's like a word for that, isn't it? Where you like get music and you set it up like note by note on like a left to right sort of like repeating pattern. So you can see here when we pass through this room, that one, the one that's doing the blah blah blah, stop being audible because it's too far away now. God damn it. So you can see there, you get, stick to light-colored grounds, but not dark. As you go through, you're building up a song, and the songs, some of them are really good. How's the audio, by the way? It's good? You can climb on the underside. It's a bit like, I guess it's a bit like the, come to think of it, it's a bit like the, some of the Wonder gimmicks from, Mario Wonder. In some ways. Sounds fine. Very good. So you can see the red is always going to be lava. The other stuff is dangerous. Whatever. Pretty self-explanatory. I don't know that I've played this tutorial since the game came out. I think I've like revisited the other worlds on occasion, such that I like remember them musically as songs, etc. There's also an editor. What exactly does this make you do? Looks like this. You can move around. We don't probably need to go through the whole editor process. It's kind of... I mean, this helps illustrate some of the things I was explaining. Probably. Like, oh yeah, there's all sorts of terrain. There's all sorts of enemies. You sort of scale... You sort of build objects, build levels by placing down objects. Scaling them up or down and, you know, building gameplay around that. I don't know that it ever took off, you know, as that sort of game. You know, it always had discovery issues. Much more severe than, like, Mario Maker, for instance. I don't know that I ever played a... I don't know I ever played a level in this that was, like, good. You know? Even if, like, in theory, people could make levels. I never found any other than my own that, that I would, you know, I would describe as worth playing. And even I, you know, sort of ended up not doing that many, just 3, really. But yeah, you can do a bunch with it, like spend the time, mess around various elements. It's cool. It's a cool editor, and I think a good deal better than, it was a good deal better, I think, than, Sackboy and, Little Big Planet, and I enjoyed this game an order of magnitude better than Little Big Planet. Multiple orders of magnitude, probably. I didn't really care for Little Big Planet when I played it. It doesn't feel good. This feels good, and also the music is a whole fun gimmick. There's good things about it. without further ado, let's do this first album here. Hello World. Hello, comma, world. The, first world here. There's 4 levels. They're not terribly long, so, you know, we'll I think this will be, like, relative to, like, some games, a relatively quick one to get through. You know, you just sort of platform, you hear some good music by, some bands of either big renown or little renown. Or no renown, I don't know, I'm not really a music person. Is I Am Robot I'm Proud like, someone knows about? Is that like, are they anyone? I don't know. I got an album of theirs on account of I played this game, and I said, ooh, you know, I'll get an album of everyone here. I'll get a deadmau5 album, I'll get a Beck album. And, you know, they do, like, electronic stuff. Never heard of them? Yeah, I figured as much. They're like an electronic band. They do, like, electronic, stuff like this, really. That's the first level. Pretty, straightforward. There is no leaderboard anymore. That doesn't exist. But, we'll keep on trucking. Red things are dangerous. I think, if you ask me, the third one of this world is like the highlight. This one's not bad, though. I'll say, you know, the Beck world is probably going to be the highlights, I would say. But the third level of Hello World? Whatever, fuck. I think that was the best one. Are there cards tonight? Nah, just gonna play the game. I like Tuesday streams just kind of focusing on thing. You know, this is probably going to be the only time I play this game on stream, you know, for the next, probably forever, maybe. I say that. I did play this game once before on an earlier stream back in 2022. I did a big stream where I checked out a smattering of levels randomly, just because I was going on a going to Universal, so I said, okay, let's do like a 5-hour stream or something, or maybe it was like a 10-hour stream, who remembers? I mean, you could check the VOD. Because that was one of the few streams that I highlighted. It is one of the first streams that was archived when I started archiving stuff. You know, wasn't lost to, you know, Twitch, removing old streams. It wasn't lost, and, you could still check it out, I guess. But, you know, and there's other stuff in that stream as well, for what it's worth. But, this is going to be like the stream for this game. You know, and like, with a stream like this, I wouldn't mind if it, like, you know, was evergreen, you understand? So, you know, there's not gonna be, like, a huge part where I talk about how much I love 100 Girlfriends, you know? There's not gonna be a big part where I go like, ooh, Season 2 Apothecary Diaries. You know, that's, first episode that came out. Ooh, wow. That sort of stuff, you know, I feel like it's best on the Mario Maker streams, where there's one of those every week, so it doesn't really matter as much if they get dated, if they're, like, dated, insofar as the thing I'm talking about. That level's good. I like that one. I think the visuals are very nice on that one. Oh, you know what? Rowdy Cloudy is the best one. Sneak and Deke is okay. That one's pretty good. We're just blasting through this. This game, I don't know if it's terribly long. We're cooking, as the kids say. Oh man, if I wanted to date this stream, we could talk about, you know, I'm sort of looking at these, red enemies and, you know, the news today, like, the story of today, yesterday, last couple days, well, obviously, one, there is a belief that, people are thinking, the leaks so have it, that there's gonna be a Nintendo Direct on, Thursday, and the Nintendo Switch 2 might get announced. That's something that'll age like milk if it's not true or whatever. That's gonna age instantly, isn't it? Depending on, like, if it gets announced tomorrow, and also in the future, they will know what the Switch 2 is. That's something that aged. But also, since TikTok is about to close, there's the whole stuff about the Red Note stuff that's been happening, where instead of going to one of TikTok's competitors, American competitors, they have went to a Chinese competitor, and are getting, and are having a great time, making it into a big, huge joke that, you know, TikTok was banned specifically because it was Chinese, and, because, well, multiple reasons, but all of them bad. The big tech companies were hoping that they could eat up that, market, but, out of spite, it's not going that way, at least on day -8. Now, I suspect this might be the kind of thing that in 5 years, you'll look back and go like, what? What was that? Red Note? Oh, that was banned like 2 minutes in. That was banned like, days after TikTok was banned. That, in retrospect, was less of a big deal. Or maybe it's the biggest deal. Maybe it's the new TikTok. And, people in the future are like, oh, this is the start of that? Who can say? Let's talk about this game from, let's talk about this game from, let's try to savor this game from 2012. A good deal, earlier than TikTok ever existed, right? TikTok was what? I'm gonna say 2018? 2017, maybe? When was TikTok made? When was TikTok made? 2016. Internationally, 2017. I was, pretty much right on the mark there, right? Said what, 2018, I said? Pretty close. Some good gameplay, some nice music. I like the way that the song and the gameplay are in sync. Rowdy Cloudy, though. That's, where we're gonna see some good shit. There's, like, a couple screens in this that I think are iconic. I know I'm saying that about a game that, is obscure as all hell. People might not remember, and also, I did see on Twitch when I was, putting in the category, apparently, like, there's like 300 people who have it as a game that they follow, which I wonder if that's like absurdly low, right? I don't know. How many usually does like a game have as far as like people who follow it? Usually it's like in the thousands, is it not? Some amount like that. I'll say I don't really follow games myself, so not really. I guess, who am I to say? Yeah, this is the iconic screen, by the way. This is the screen I think about when I think about soundscapes. The one with, these guys all coming in. Maybe some ones later will also be pretty iconic as well. I guess the thing is about this game is that each screen only has like one loop, essentially. So, you know, the progression of the song is driven by you moving forward and collecting all the coins, which is satisfying. This screen, okay, you know what? This screen also. This is the iconic screen. You know what? I lied. This one, even more iconic than the last one. This loop, that you form by, like, making your way across these, mess of, good guys. Iconic loop. I say, as a loop from a game that maybe not many people played, maybe fewer remember. I'll say again, Astrobot, add sound shapes. It's a PlayStation exclusive on PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation Vita. I don't know if it was, like, developed by, like, you know, Sony internal teams or whatever, or if it was like an indie game that they picked up, but it is exclusive. And you could probably get the rights to make an Astrobot of it. I assume that they do get the rights for all that. They're not like, I guess you could say it's like parody, you know? Like, they're not using their names, they're just using some of their iconic outfits and stuff. However, whatever the case is, I bet they could get it together. Rowdy Cloudy's great. Big supporter of Rowdy Cloudy. Definitely the highlight of Hello World. Corporeal. Let's go into the second world here. We're like, what? 10, 20? We're 40 minutes into the stream, but how long was I setting it up? This is going pretty fast. Corporeal, as you can see, musically, it's like Jim Guthrie. I don't know Jim Guthrie. I don't know if he's a name people know. I don't know if he's like the composer from Superbrothers. But stylistically, this is just like straight up Sword and Sworcery, like that sort of thing. And indeed, like Superbrothers, that's the Sword and Sworcery people. For a game people don't talk about or think about much, they got some talent to collab on them. You know, like, I Am Robot and Proud, maybe a more obscure bunch of fellas, but like Supergiants or what's it again? Superbrothers? Supergiant is Hades and Bastion and like. Superbrothers, Beck. They got some folks. Deadmau5. People know of Deadmau5. Yeah, this is like the office world. Everything here is like some sort of weird office space, liminal hell. I really like how each world has its own distinct personality, aesthetic, one-off mechanics. Really gave really a lot to really has a lot going on and a lot to work with. And then you get to like the level editing side, which you know, like I said, doesn't exist anymore, is completely offline. You can't share them anymore because the servers are gone. Which, you know, like I said, the game always had discovery problems. And, you know, it never had the kind of community like Mario Maker had. Mario Maker we often think as being a little bit shit, you know? A little bit like, a little bit shit as far as discovery goes. Well, this had even less discovery. I mean, I'll say I don't think that, like, I don't think that, like, I don't know, Little Big Planet had much better discovery than, like, this, or... Probably better discovery than this, not as good discovery as Mario Maker. I should say the name of the level before I start it. This is Research and Development. I'll say again, you know, while it didn't have discovery and the levels that I made in this game, you know, went nowhere. I don't know if they were like... honestly, I don't remember if I, like, shared them anywhere. I don't remember if there was, like, a Reddit where people shared levels for this game. I don't remember if I got, like, you know, feedback as you do. I don't remember. Nothing in particular comes to mind as far as that goes, but I do think, like, this is the first time I ever made a platforming level. In this case, we moved that cat, and that cat activated that dude. This is the first time I had a game where I made some levels that I was proud of. That I was, like, you know, proud of, you know? This is the first time I don't miss one. And hell, I'll say, like, I'm not really that much musically inclined, but I think I did some decent stuff. And, truth be told, I do think about some of the songs that, I put together for my levels. You know, mostly from a level first perspective, and then making it sound good just by futzing until such time as it sounded good. But, you know... it's a process, or whatever. What we do is we jump on this guy, then we hit up that guy. You know, I guess if I'm thinking about it now, with how fast we're going through these levels, right? I guess how I would rank it... I guess... these levels being really short and all, this is kind of more of a one-and-done thing, isn't it? Like, you literally just play through once, twice, as many times as it takes to get the, get all the notes and make sure you have the complete song, and have a good time, and then you out. You know, it's kind of comparable to, like, some of the shorter Game of the Year candidates that I've had in recent years, I guess. I say recent years. The game that comes to mind is, Deltarune. When I gave Deltarune Part 2 Game of the Year that year it came out. That was like a 3-hour thing, and maybe more is shorter than that even. Again, this, I'll say, was not my game of the year or nothing. It was like runner-up, number 3, somewhere in that ballpark, but still, you know, pretty high for... Pretty high, you know? Get this guy moving again. Make sure that that is done. There's the second level. The first 2 levels here, pretty vanilla, pretty straightforward. We're only getting a little bit of sinister vibes running around this office, but not really anything significant. I will say, by the way, there are like some side modes where you like do survival. I was never really one much for them. Personnel, Research and Development, Purgatory, and then Event Horizon is the next one, is the last one. Let's do it. Purgatory. Purgatory, Purgatory. Purgatory. By the way, not to date the stream again, but I am planning next weekend is Martin Luther King Day. I got the Monday off, so I would like to do a stream on Sunday. Gonna do Sunday stream, I think. We'll see what my schedule says at the end of the stream, if that's what I put in there. I think it might have been. But I'm thinking Sunday, let's do Wind Waker Randomizer. I did that once with a weird setup that involved me doing all the dungeons, but only the dungeons. Dungeon checks only. Yeah, I'm doing something a little more traditional this time. I got, like, most of the checks on, most of the normal-ass checks on, but also I only have to do 3 dungeons. So, I'm thinking that might actually be more reasonable than what I did last time. Turns out that, when you have to do every dungeon in Wind Waker, it, took a while. We ended up having to check every check that first time I did Wind Waker Randomizer. The last item that I needed was literally in the last place I looked, and I checked everywhere else in every dungeon. Ridiculous. Hoping for better luck this time. Yeah. Having to check everything in every location in the game, literally the worst luck you can get. You don't get worse luck than that. I like those guys, like, disposing of machines and stuff. You know, computers or whatever it is they're shunting out. You can see, by the way, if I'm talking about, like, how this game constructs music, by having you go to a lower screen and then back up, by, like, routing you in interesting ways, the music can come online and come offline. Return, you know. Sorry. In ways that are musically interesting. Oh, God, my arm is sore. I think that's just, real damn neat. Also, with these elevators, you can see we're being shunted to places that, don't have any music. So it's like a fresh reset. And maybe we're going to go in range of some music, so we might hear some from a previous screen, but recontextualized by having less of it, or something. Maybe not. They're going for, like, some lobby music, like some elevator music type shit when you're in between. Levels. Final one of this world, Event Horizon. Ooh. Sometimes when I sneeze, my muscles get all sore. I don't know what's up with that. My arm is all sore now. Kind of like the soreness you would get from like a... Kind of feels like the soreness from like a booster. You know what I mean? Pick a pipe here, that's fine. Kind of like the soreness you get from like a COVID booster. I think, I don't know. What's up with that? Annoys me, I'll say that much. There's some cool level design, atmospheric design, etc. in like how these levels are set up. I mean, look at this shit. It's an office place that's upside down, all sorts of weird angles, and also it's surrounded by debris at all sides. What does that mean? Is this some sort of metaphor? I don't know. It's arts. It's arts! All you need to know is it's definitely art. Also, they're using barcode scanners to attack me now. And, that ain't right. I can shut down Barcode Man. Wonder how this works as far as copyright goes. I assume because this is a game, and this music was never released independently of the game, even in the case of Beck's 3 songs. I assume that like there's no DMCA on this. It'd be pretty ridiculous to do that, considering that you know, this was made specifically for this game. It's composed by you moving around the world. I don't know though. I feel like you can't be sure though with like artists, studios. What's the word for like the music people? Labels? Labels. I don't know. I guess the artists and the labels, you know, they're not. I don't know how that works. I'm assuming we're cool, and I can just relax and just play the game. God damn it! Skill issues aside, I can play the game. With all the checkpoints, it's pretty easy to, oh, you know, you're always making progress. It's not like, it's not like you're losing too much to, like, a death. The song continues to, progress smoothly. If there was, I guess, that sort of difficulty situation, then I guess, you know, the pacing of the song would be affected. The progression would be slower. There's a speedrun. There's like a timer. It is tracking how long you're taking, I guess. I will say, this is in my, well, like I said, it was like a top contender for Game of the Year, like in the top 3 or whatever in 2012 for me. Top 3, top 5, something, somewhere in there. So, you know, obviously it's a game that I love. I will say, playing it again, it's nice. I'm wondering if it's, really, obvious, like, why I feel this way, you know? I'm wondering if, like, if y'all watching this are, you know, seeing what's so great about it. You know, I worry I'm not making a great case by it. Look at there, though. There's a devil. He's dancing and playing a jolly little song. That's corporate life for you. All about the devil playing music. And rich guys with cigarettes, you know, puffing to the cigars, I suppose. Puffing to the beat. Corporeal, that's Corporeal. Next up, we have Beyonder. Now, so far these have been 4 levels per world. Beyonder and Deadmau5. Well, Beyonder is 5, Deadmau5 is 4, Beck is 3, and we can also do the car one, I guess, just to see like how they added to it. I think I saw some mention of like other albums that they added over time, but far as I can tell, those don't exist anymore. Or if they do, maybe we could check the PlayStation Store. Like, if I check the store right now, add-ons, add-on bundle. Yeah, a lot of these are, like, different. Oh, wow, they added some, like, DLC that included, like, art from, like, Hohokam, Lizzie Wander, Brass Sounds, City Arc Pack. I think they had, like, a whole extra set of albums that was quote-unquote free, I think. I heard that there was, like, a free thing. Some of these are just, like, not albums, per se, not, like, levels, just, like, things that you can put into your levels. You know, they should probably not be charging, by the way, for these anymore, considering that, you can't share levels online anymore. What the fuck is the point of getting Brass Sounds if you can't, upload a level that you've put your brass sounds in? The DLC scheme for this game, I'll say, was always questionable. Like, you should have done levels, you should have paired the DLC with an album, and, you know, had it been like the base game albums, but they didn't. Instead, they just put out, like, 80s sound pack. Should have had an 80s album. Or an 8-bit album, I guess. Yeah, these are just, you add some curves to your thing. It's not even worth downloading, it's just curves. I'm not gonna make a level with them. And, yeah. These are not albums, these are just graphics packs. Graphics pack, sound and art pack. Sound, nature art. I thought there was... There's the mini album pack for the mini car, mini album thing. This is the one time they did, like, a mini album to go with the DLC, would go with the sounds and the art and the stuff, and, I think we'll see it later, but, I don't think it was really, like, that impressive. Oh, look at this, you can get all the, crap packs, including ones that are literally free, for $10. Does this add up to more than 10? This is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And, presumably it also includes the car one, right? Yeah. Okay, maybe it's like a slight savings. I don't remember, like, how expensive the mini car album was, but, whatever. Beyonder, let's do Beyonder now. I would not recommend buying the DLC for this game that you can no longer upload levels of, but I would recommend the game itself, like, hey. And I would also say again, I want to say again, put this in Astrobot. Deserves to be. I was waiting that whole game just to see, like, if they would do it, and I was pretty bummed that they didn't. Pretty bummed that it wasn't, in there. 1 second, let me adjust something real fast. Okay, we're good. I just noticed that my microphone's wind thingy was a little bit off. I don't know if it sounded weird or anything, but should be good now. I don't know, like, if it makes a material difference, like how much that is on or off. I just know that it's supposed to help with, like, plosives, I guess. That's what a windsock is for, right? So this is more of a sci-fi world, a sci-fi album. A little bit high concept, a little bit like, you know, if the first one was just sort of like a... The first one, and by the way, this is by I Am Robot and Proud, like the first album. Completely different as far as tone goes, though. The first one is sort of like hunky-dory, you know, just... electronic... What's the genre? What would be the genre of Hello World? Sort of like a hunky-dory type, vibe, where this is much more ethereal and, strange. Maybe like, what's the word? What's the word for, like, on drugs? You know, like, a pop stopper. It stops the popping sound when talking direct in the mic. Yeah. I think it goes by multiple names. I don't think I've ever heard pop stopper. It's like, I think the thing I said, wind thing. I think that's one of its names. I'll say I don't have much memory of these songs. What's the word for, like, 70s, like, psychedelic. This is sort of like a psychedelic, atmospheric type vibe. Shit! This is... probably shouldn't be that hard. You do get a lot of momentum, it turns out, by, like, swinging on the thing. Like, kind of a surprising amount. I guess I'm too used to, like, Mario's hooks. You know... These hooks, they work differently as far as Momentia goes. Is Momentia a word? Like, or is it just momentum, even if it's plural or singular, or... Probably is just always momentum, isn't it? I don't know how Latin plurals work. Why would I know how Latin plurals work? It is Latin, right? That one's good. Thermogenesia. I don't know, like, the songs here make that much of an impression in Beyonder, but some of these devices are pretty good as far as, like, the music that they lay down. Like these, electronic girders, whatever. I'll say I did make, when this game was, like, you know, alive, I did make 3 levels of my own. I made one just, like, with an assortment of every item in the game, or, like, you know, as many as I pleased. And then I wanted to do, like, one of each album. I wanted to do 1 level of each album. And I got two albums in before, stalling out on the 3rd one of those. And then also, look at this. Oh, I was so distracted by the noise, which is cool, that I forgot to dismount from the, tongue thing. Cool thing. Where the fuck am I? There I am. I always had some ideas for, like... I had some ideas for this one. I wanted to make... For this world, right? This album. I wanted to make... There's a mechanic coming up in one of these later levels where you can fly around a little bit. You'll see. It'll make sense when we get there. I wanted to make sort of a Metroidvania-style level where you would progress one way through the level and then come back through those same spaces, but with a flying device that allowed you to, like, go places you couldn't before. And also you'd be blocked out from, like, backtracking by, you know, you wouldn't be able to bring your thing in these small spaces. And, you know, the song would naturally build itself up, like, as you're going through the spaces multiple times. Again, I just think that's an interesting way this game builds up songs and builds up things. Allows you to build up a level through the things. Mechania? It's a weird way to... Mechanica. It is Mechanica. Mechanica. Background? The background's doing some musical stuff. I didn't notice, but it's doing some, like, pulsing in time with the music. How about that? I think this game was very well received critically. And, you know, I think it's a damn shame that, like, people don't, think about it much anymore. I don't know. I think it's a shame that the server is shut down, even if, like, no one was playing it. I feel like servers like that should be up in perpetuity, you know. Especially if, like, you know, the levels that people make are, like, cool, or... I don't know, I guess I say this as a Mario Maker player who already has had a good amount of levels, like, taken offline by Mario Maker 1 going offline. But, like... I think it's a damn shame that, like, you know, my Mario Maker 1 levels will just not exist in the future. You know, lost to time. I think it's a shame that all those levels were lost to time. I say that. Didn't someone manage to save all the Mario Maker 1 levels? Like, isn't there, like, a backup, like, the whole everything? Is the music still good, by the way? Volume level and all that? I suspect no one has backed up, like, these levels, I'd say, to probably another extent. Phrase that better. In addition, I would bet that, even Little Big Planet, I bet Little Big Planet is not being archived by the fans. I might be wrong about that. Rock Party's never heard of this game. I feel like a lot of people never heard of this game. I wonder. I forget, like, how well it was received by the people that I was following, but... Okay, come on down. I wonder, like, how well it was received, like, you know, by the websites I followed at the time, you know? How big into this... Who at Giant Bomb was into this? Must have been someone, because, you know... I'll say I don't know about games just because I know about games. At the time, Giant Bomb was my way of finding out about games. I'm sure there was a quick look of it, and I wouldn't be surprised if, like, you know, they came away very positive, and I got that same, vibe. In fact, let me see. Apropos of nothing. I'm gonna search for Giant Bomb sound shapes. Where's the iPhone? There it is. There is a sound shape review. It got a 5 stars from Alex Navarro. It got 5 stars from Alex Navarro, and he said it was an absolute delight, which I agree with. Yeah, no, that Giant Bomb, they were into this game. I wonder, like, if it was in. I wonder if it was like in, say, Alex Navarro's 2012 Game of the Year list. Given like it's a 5 out of 5, and I feel like, you know, I feel like 5 out of 5s from Giant Bomb are more of a rarity, you know? And it's like, I give probably most of the games I play 5 out of 5 on average because I play the ones that speak to me most. But when they did reviews, 5 out of 5 was like, you know, you have to earn it. You have to be like, basically best of the best, you know? You have to be like one of the top things. Let me see. From the creator of Everyday Shooter. I never heard of Everyday Shooter, I'll say. Jessica Max Queasy Games. Let me see. Navigation. I want to see videos. Why is there 4 videos of it? 1 to 44. It was in Alex's top 10. Yeah, it was in Alex Navarro's top 10 for that year, and it was in mine as well. It was in my top 10 as well. That DLC didn't end up being that significant, I guess. Anything else here? People played this game, and it was like, you know, in some top 10 lists. Maybe not as many as I would like, and probably not the collective list, apparently, but it was pretty high in mine. I guess this is a very Alex Navarro game. He's a very musical person. If you don't know, Alex Navarro worked at Giant Bomb for a while. He also worked at people don't know Alex Navarro. He worked at Giant Bomb, worked at GameSpot before that. Also worked at what's those guys who make Rock Band? He worked there. Geez, they haven't been relevant for a while now, have they? He worked there for a while as like PR or whatever, you know, community stuff, whatever. And now he's at Nextlander doing his own independent thing with a bunch of other formerly Giant Bomb guys. Cool dude. Haven't checked in what he's up to in a while. We're on Aquatical, right? We just did the... I think I would remember if I did a water level. Yeah, this is definitely new. Definitely not the last level we played. I don't know. I guess if we're talking like what sort of support this game would need, to like have made a bigger splash. Maybe like more collaborations, more albums. I think it's kind of questionable they did a mini album for the car DLC. It almost seems like it was more just to, you know, provide a tutorial for the thing rather than something like substantial. I think we'll see that when we revisit that later. And at this rate, why not? The night is young. I'll say, like, randomly revisiting some old-ass games that are a little more obscure is something I want to do, like, as a more regular thing into the future, you know? Something I want to do more regularly in the future, and not all of them are, like, not all of the games I have in mind are, like, you know, top of my list things. I've been thinking for a while, there's, like, a old Xbox Live arcade game. I forget what it's called in this moment, which isn't a good sign, but it's like a game where you had a sword. Hey, this is the UFO. This is what I was looking to build a level around when I was looking to make a level from this world. You know, using objects from this world. In retrospect, I'll say this ain't as cool as the UFO 50 UFO. Maybe that goes without saying, UFO and UFO 50. In Campanella and all that. Pretty cool. This you just sort of like go around and you can do a boosty boost. And you can jump out if you want. What is that game called? I think the gimmick is that you switch between, like, realities or something. Or, like, you can do, like, on-off stuff on a button. And switch between, like, red and blue being solid or something. That's a game that I can barely remember. And I remember being, like, perfectly good. And I think it'd be fun to look at. There's a lot of games. There's a lot of games from the past, and like, you know, as a streamer, as a person, I tend to gravitate towards the ones from my childhood. You know, NES, or sorry, SNES. SNES to like, from the SNES to the GameCube roundabout, maybe a little bit the Wii, maybe a little bit the 360. And then, like, present day, you know, like the most recent, the hottest, newest. And there's, like, a whole 10, 20-year period in there from, like, the 360 to near present, maybe, like, through the Xbox One era, Wii U, all that. That is a little bit easier to forget, you know, a little more forgotten. And I like to, I think this is a good idea to occasionally, like, pull out one and just play a bunch of it, if not all of it. Not always all of it, I'll say. This case is special because it's... really, I don't think it's that long. These guys, sort of start, like, electric shocking as soon as you, like, pass near them. So you gotta, like, get away from them. Give them the time of day. The time of day, that's probably the poorly phrased. Gotta maneuver and crap. Yeah, going through these again. Is this the last one? Extraterrania? This one might be the last one. I wasn't paying attention on the map screen. I'll say, having gone through them all now, This one's trippy and like psychedelic and all, and that's cool. But I do like the catchiness of the first world. I like the sinister vibes of the second world. This one is a mood, but it's not like you know, musically, these notes are just like, they're not like forming melodies, you know? And I think a melody is like the main thing you want in a song. I don't know. I say that. I'm not really like, I don't care for like the dubstep. There's some genres I'm not like a real big fan of, I guess. A mark for, wherever you want to put it. Okay, we need to like, we need to time this. Like that. I don't know. I guess I'll say when I went and found albums from the people that made this this game, you know, the artists that contributed, I listened to Beck. I listened to a little bit of like I Am Robot and Proud, but like an album that's more like their first album in the game here, not like this one. And Beck and Deadmau5 a little bit, and that was it. I didn't like seek out an album that was like this one, you know. Alien psychedelics. Like, even as video game music, it doesn't do that much for me, you know? Like, if this was just the music in a video game, it wouldn't be like super my jam, you know? It wouldn't be like something I listen to outside of the game. Some of the music in, like, the first album, yes. Some of the music in, like, the Beck one coming up, yes. I think the game is at its most, like, solid when you really got the feel of just, like, getting every note and what it's adding to the song, right? As you're moving across the screen and the song just becomes more and more filled out. And in this one, it's just a little more abstract, a little bit less musical. I'll say, like, the range is cool. I think the range is great. I love the range of all the different artists that were involved. It's just that, you know, this one in particular. It's cool, but not something I would listen to, I guess. I guess that is something I would say, is that even the weakest album in this game, even the one that clicks with me the least, has, like, a vibe to it. Has, like, atmosphere. Has, like, cool visuals to eat up, to, like, soak in. You know, even at worst, it's pretty cool. At worst, it's pretty cool. At best, it's, like, you know, sublime. It's musically and gameplay-wise satisfying in a way that's, like, synergistic and cool. That feels like buzzwords when I say... Saying synergistic feels like just empty buzzwords, but yeah. D-Cade. D-Cade is the next one by PixelJam for the graphics and Deadmau5 for the audio, for like the songs, for like the musical element of it. This is also a space world, which is kind of funny considering that the last one was a space world, but this one is a little bit more, like, meaty, I guess. How do I describe this one versus the last one? The last one is more surrealistic, whereas this one is more just brutalist. That's not a good description. What is this compared to the last one? It's pixely. It's got pixel type stuff going on. The enemies and some of the stuff is a little bit more like blocky. It has much more of a like musical, a lot more musical than the last one. These enemies, these things that move around are very dynamic and fun. There's like volcanoes. This is EDM. Oh, I didn't mean the genre of music. I meant like the aesthetics of it, you know? Like the art and stuff. I mean, I guess everything I've said pretty much just sums it up, right? Pixely. A little bit more violent, whereas the last one was a little bit more like, I love this mechanic. Look at this. You go around in a circle, and you sort of orbit it, and you can see if you go too far in some places, you'll head right into the lava. Whereas in some cases, you're able to loop around all the way, and when you jump, you're sort of like shot out, like, directly out. It's a cool gimmick, and they use it really well in this level. Time and time again. It's dope. That was a nice first level. Not too long. Not too, straightforward, but, good musically as well. Galactinoids. I should be saying the names of the levels as I'm playing them. Cool gameplay as well. I feel like the last one, the gameplay was more low-key. Whereas in this one, there's some good mechanics. There's, like, bespoke gimmicks that are solid. And it feels like you're building songs, you know? Which is, like, the whole point. Some of this crap kind of reminds me of, like, just, like, interacting with random stuff that behaves weirdly. Kind of reminds me of, like, Animal Well a little bit. You know, I'm jumping on that guy and they're going like, ah! Ah! And disappearing. That has some... not too dissimilar from, like, Animal Well, how it, is weird, I guess. The game's also weird. Okay, good. Always make sure to get all the notes. Also, it's nice in this one, it's like forcing you to... fuck. It's forcing you to, like, go back and, shit. It's forcing you to, if you want all the notes, you're gonna have to work for them. God damn it. You're gonna have to go over here. And then come on back after you've, you know, know, gotten all those notes and gotten the song, like, all the way complete. There's a bit more collecting to do here than in, like, the first 3 worlds. I forget if there's, like, a difficulty curve here, or if it's supposed to be, like, arranged in that way. I feel like, difficulty-wise, this is all pretty even. I say that even though, like, I said earlier that this, you know, some of these mechanics are a little more challenging. Maybe there is a difficulty curve. Playing this again, I'm gonna say that this... If I were to do a tier list of, tier list of worlds from this game. And you can do some cool shit with this. Oh, these guys are going in circles. Man, I'll say I would kill for some of these mechanics in, like, Mario Maker. Like, a circling enemy that, like, shoots lasers on an interval. Also, you can, like, define the interval. You can be like, okay, do it, like... You know, because it's music, right? You can have it so they do, like, do-do-do-do, or, like, you know... You can have them, like, they're flexible, some of these enemies, like, the patterns in which they laser. And you can do some good shit with that. That's Galaxinoids. The first one was Disasteroids. Now we have Invaderoids. I like the basic music that these guys are contributing, you know, before we even get the stuff. The kind of sounds like drumsticks. I don't know. It's cool. Feels like active. Not really a music guy. Don't really know the terminology. Honestly, don't actively seek out new music. Ever. Never had a Spotify, Apple Music, anything of the sorts. Which, you know, you would think. I feel like for most people who are, like, actively keeping up with music, that would be like a, you know, that would make it really hard to not keep up with music. But the secret is, I don't keep up with music, so works out fine. I'm not actively acquiring music ever, except for anime openings. I like anime music. From the stuff I stick with specifically, I don't like to. Not my policy to keep songs from shows I drop, even if they are really good. Really good music, like the music is good. Maybe that's silly. I'll say there's a couple that I haven't deleted despite, you know, I haven't purged from my collection despite not having, not getting into it. Dropping the show. It's silly, I'll admit. I know. I get everything. I get everything I'm watching as far as anime music goes. Every single one. It's a little bit more like, I am annoyed whenever a show does like, oh, we're doing 12 endings this season. We're doing an ending every couple episodes. It's just like, god damn it. You're just making it hard for me to put that all together. And also when I listen to it, it's like, what is this? It's like, when I don't know what something is, odds are pretty decent. It's a Chainsaw Man ED. You know, there's like 12 of those, and mostly they're not very memorable. On account of there's 12 of them. The opening's great, though. Opening's memorable. This is a very cool level. The way you can, like, program patterns for them is really neat. It makes it so that, like, you know, waves of enemies to, like, jump between or avoid shooting out in rhythm. That's just some of the game at its best, you know? When there are cases such as that. Like I said, some of these ideas I would kill for in Mario Maker. I say I would kill for them. I'd pay good money for them. How about that? What are you listening to in the car? Anime music, podcasts sometimes. A lot of times I pull up like a YouTube video, like you know, kind of video that you would just watch, and I listen to the audio of it. You know, like the kind of video you watch on YouTube. I feel like I watch more YouTube these days than podcast or music in the car. You know, obviously there is, I can't look at the, I can't as readily see the visuals when I'm consuming it that way, but oftentimes that's plenty fine, you know. It's like guys talking, explaining, like, what's something I was hearing about the other day? I was watching a, I don't think I watched this in the car, but I was watching a video about, bone. I never heard of bone. Apparently it's like, like Scholastic, through, like, comics such as Bone, like, completely has, you know, left Marvel and DC in the dust. That's surprising to me. I mean, I realize that Marvel and DC have been in a shit place and that manga has really fucked their shit, but I didn't realize that, like, kids' comics have completely, like, also out there dominating. Videos like that, where I'm, like, learning something or something. It's hard to keep on finding new videos like that, though. There's, you know, not like an infinite number of them. A difficult thing of living in this world is always, and doing, like, more YouTube videos than, like, podcasts or whatever, is always making sure there's something new to listen to when I'm bored at work, you know? Or in the car, or plane rides. I'll also listen to older music that I already have, like the music I got over 10 years ago. I do have a good amount of traditional music, like, from over 10 years ago, that I've put together, including albums from, like, deadmau and, the artists in this game, for, you know, because I was inspired by this game. At the time that I was playing this game back in 2012, I was still, like, actively trying to acquire music, and, like, you know, keep up with an album or two a year. You know, like, I listen... Hold on with the music there. I listened to 1989. That was one of the last albums I listened to. Emotion? Was Emotion Carly Rae, or was that... Emotion was Carly Rae, right? I listened to that, and the B-side of that. Or was that other one, Charlie X or something? Another lady artist. There was another album I listened to that I think Patrick Klepek recommended, also formerly of Giant Bomb fame, and Waypoint, and I think he's at... Is Patrick Klepek at that, Waypoint, you know, successor place. That was like the last time I was like really looking into albums, like 10 years ago, and I haven't like, I don't know the new music that they have these days, unless it's anime. And specifically one I watch, because, you know, like, it's funny, like, you see some, like, anime quizzes, right? And it's like, okay, here's an easy one, and they play the music, and it's like, I don't know that one. It's One Piece. Oh, yeah, that explains why I don't know and never watched it. There's like 500 episodes. It would take me multiple years to catch up on it. No, that's a daunting proposition. Okay, here's Death Note. Nope, didn't get that one either. Okay, let's go for something a lot harder then. Here's what would be a good example of that? Something obscure. I probably wouldn't be able to get Momokuri. Here's would I feel like some of them, even if they're rather obscure, are rather identifiable, you know, easy to clock. Like what's it called? What's that really horny one about the characters that are also objects? Su Monogatsu. I forget what it's called, but you know the one where the lady is a towel or a blanket, and it's very, very horny. Sugumomo. Sugumomo? I think it's Sugumomo. Last level here. This is Breakanoids. I've been recently, like, watched some videos about, like, dating apps and stuff like that. Apparently, people are pretty unhappy with them these days. I mean, I'll say I've, never really, you know, had the patience for them, I guess. I don't know. I haven't really, like, ever had success with them. And apparently, like, seems like a lot of people have the same, like, frustration, same, like, useless feeling. You know, this is a cool gimmick that uses the, wall climb mechanic of this game very well. Keep moving or else you're gonna fall off. And that's all screwy. I don't know. That whole thing seems like a broken system that, you know, if you want to have any success, you're gonna have to pay like $50 a month, and then you're probably still not going to have success because if you did, they would lose your business. So, how the hell do people date these days? How the hell does romance work? I really don't know. And also, I'm low-key, like, fine, just like, okay, let it ride. You know? I got other things going on. I got the stream to think about. I got a million personal projects. Whoa, this one is noisy. What the fuck? Why is this one... And we haven't even gotten all the noises yet. Here. Now we have all the noises. Oh, it's pretty cool, though, when it, when you fall 2 rooms and the sound drops out. It becomes more reasonable. And it starts back up again thereafter. Yikes. I'm curious about that stuff. You know, not because I suddenly think I could find time for it, you know? Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Oh, crap. God. We missed 2 notes. And got a checkpoint. I should have known that that was not the place to go in, critical path-wise. You know what? It's been only... I gotta restart. That's, I feel like if I'm not getting the full experience, if we're not getting the full song, you're doing something wrong. Also, you know, we've been going around, like, less than 2 hours, and we're on the second to last, the last song of the second to last full-ass album. This stream will be relatively short, even with this, do-over. This album, I think, is, like, S tier, as far as this game goes. I think this album and Beck are both S. I would say the first one is probably A. The second one, I'm gonna say B, and then maybe C for, the, one in the middle. I should probably put more than one in a tier other than S. I would put, the first one in A, then. Wait, no, I already had that one in A. I'll put the first 2 into A. First 2 are A. I'll say B for the space one. And then the tutorial one, C. Not really that much of an album. Okay. Fun things to avoid here. Yeah, we gotta navigate this space without fucking dying. Okay, there's one. I didn't get that checkpoint there. I imagine that this is as loud as it sounds. Hopefully y'all could still hear me through all that, and it's all cool. Okay, this time, we're gonna get the thing, and then, alright, that was, no big deal at all. A couple minutes lost. I wonder if I'm supposed to, like, bounce off the funny block. You know, like, bounce off that block. Or just go over the volcano directly. That works! What? It looked like I was able to walk on it for a second. Or like on the side or something. Peculiar. Peculiar. Time it better, time it better. This one has twice as many fire birds as the other one. We've gotten most of the notes, so you'd think it'd be almost over, but there's some difficult platforming as the music continues to, like, you know, step up and step down based on, like, where you are in relation to the older rooms earlier in the level. Shit. Some cases, these checkpoints are ridiculous. Like, do you really need a checkpoint to save one jump? I mean, I don't mind it, because those other 3 jumps before that are, like, kind of low-key a little difficult, but you could probably do those over, and it'd be fine. That's D-Cade. One of the best albums of this game, I think, and, you know, just because, one, the music is pretty good, and as far, you know, and 2, the enemy variety, the mechanic variety, it's difficult, it's challenging, and it's got a lot of fun mechanics that it builds its levels around. You know, it does the thing where each of these mechanics is good enough where you could, you know, do more with them, but instead they do like 1 and done in a lot of cases, or 2 and done. I say that, there's also a level editor, so the idea is that you can take them, you can use them for your own, but, whatever. Final main album of this game, Beck Cities. Music by Beck. Graphics by Pyramid Attack. I don't know who that is. Pyramid Attack. Oh, I just hit the sign in. I was curious what that square thing was. That's for the network features that don't exist anymore. Whatever. Let's do it. These ones are all very different, unlike the previous levels where there's sort of like a progression, and they're all sort of like similar musically, using similar like graphics, similar like instrumentation, and just being like slightly different. Beck's album is 3 levels, but they are all bespoke. We got bespoke Beck here. I like these rockets. They make a cool bass line. These platforms to say ah are fun. Run across them as they exist. I put those in the YouTube thumbnail for the live stream. I don't know if I will for the VOD, for what it is worth. You know, I got some ideas for that as well. Here we go. This level is also interesting in that it like continues to introduce ideas that the other 2 levels do not repeat. Like this bomb thing, we got these things like blasting us out. Again with the bomb filling the screen. Fuck. Gotta use the ah. Oh, also there's lyrics. Kinda. I think they repeat after like yeah, after like one refrain and refrain. They repeat, but you know, they got some some actual words, which, you know, knowing what I know about Beck, you wouldn't think he would be the one who have actual words, but everyone else in here is like orchestral or EDM, so, you know, as far as this game goes, he's the one who uses words, which, you know, I remember that joke from Futurama about the rhyming Bectionary. I know. He often uses words like yodelay, odelay. You know, check the Bectionary. Classic joke. Classic joke. This is definitely the best one. In fact, I could see an argument for this being S tier and like the Deadmau5 one being like a tier below that, just because how good this one is. You know, having this one at Deadmau5 at S or at AA with no, I like the previous tier list. I'll leave it as is. I don't want to diminish the gameplay appeal of Deadmau5's one, just because this one has like some real cool musical values, and also an embarrassment of cool mechanics. I was stuck under the and the only safe place I could go shunted me into the lava. Look at that, more mechanics. Now there's a wrecking ball. I haven't really been listening to much podcasts recently, though I will say, as far as like listening to things, since I caught up on Kuriko's Basketball with a podcast that covers sports anime, so I've been able to start catching up on that, like, you know, not only just finishing the season where they talked about Kuriko's Basketball season 2, but I've also been listening to them talk about Skate the Infinity, and they're almost done with that, where I am, like, I don't know, around November episodes. So I'm almost up to present with that, and, you know, if I just catch up on Fire Escape and one other podcast that I don't want to admit that I haven't listened to in months, years, like nearly a year now, in earnest. If I could catch up on that, I could have podcasts again. Be like a regular thing. Woo! That's a good little bit right there. Making that, ooh, thing. What's a good anime podcast? I'll admit, no, don't, we're good. I'll admit, as far as anime podcasts go, the podcast I listen to, Chance Ball is an anime podcast, but it's like a recap episode, a recap show of old anime, like, specifically sports anime, like Haikyuu and Kuriko's Basketball, and, that. They're the Yori Yori Boys also. Yori Yori Boys is also the same people as Chance Ball, same people as, they also did 5 Grams of Iron, which was a Full Metal Alchemist rewatch podcast, you know, until they finished it. And then that was that. And then they did Chance Ball. And before that, they did JoJo, and also they do Game of Thrones. I would recommend that if you're interested in sports anime, but if you're looking for, like, a, you know, anime that tells you what's going on seasonally, I'll admit I don't have any. I don't know. I watch Mother's Basement, the YouTuber, for, like, anime YouTube. That's, like, my go-to as far as, like, you know, seeing, like, what's hot, what's not hot. I mean, I first try them out for myself and try to make the judgments myself, but it's also interesting to hear, like, oh, what does he think? Also, like, the bad anime that I dropped, how bad do they really get? You know, that's, what I like to get from him. You can hear that this song is very different. By the way, so, yeah, Touch the People is the next one. I think the first one might be the best one, though. The first song. That would be the S-tier song for my taste. But, whatever. These are all great, and they're all very unique, and they have completely different art styles. Well, I say completely different. They're probably the same people.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is System On. Ladies and gentlemen, all the people around the world.
Look at this Pyramid Man.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is System On. Ladies and gentlemen, all the people around the world.
That's right.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
There's the Great Gundam Project, which is a podcast for Gundam recast, but I tried going through that, and I got through a couple of seasons, but there's like so many. I would never. I would have to like listen to it for ages to get up to present, and you know, it's kind of, if you listen to too many in a row, I kind of lose the plot of those Gundam shows I've never seen before. A lot of them. I'm not really up on podcasts these days. But, you know, I do work from an office. I do have a commute these days. I do go to lunch. I should probably think about listening to more podcasts. I don't know. I don't see that many people recommending any. You know. Maybe if, like, someone said, like, oh, this podcast fucking rules. You know, this one has, this one is hot and fresh, you know? I would, jump in with both feet. I think my being behind on podcasts started like 2 years ago when I reread like an entire... I reread several books in a row, like as audiobooks, and that just put me right out of commission podcast-wise for a good long while. What? You know, I said that he uses words in this, but these are not words. Beck is living up to his reputation here. Not words. Galba? Gabba? Gabba? Gabbut? 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 Catch your feeling. good bullet hell ass shit here. Okay. I'm not sure how you get this to poop you out. Triangle thing. I love these, bouncy little men. These are some of my favorites. Little men from this game. This is full of little men. Little fellas. Whoa. That, like, flung me forward as I jumped. How about that? These guys kind of remind me of Conker's Bad Fur Day, the cogs. Ooh. Keeps having new ideas up to the very end. And, some real cool music along the way. I don't know how you would do some of the, you know, I've seen some people say, like, oh, Beck, I don't know if people are clamoring for these other albums, you know, from Deadmau or, you know, I say Deadmau was pretty popular. Is pretty popular? I assume pretty well known. I don't know if, like, people are clamoring for Hello World or Beyonder to be released separately, but I definitely remember seeing on, like, well, I say I remember. I looked at the Wikipedia page, and I think on there it said something like, yeah, these were never released as separate albums, even though some people would really like the Beck one, and maybe Deadmau as well. It's Deadmau5. I'm just saying it weird. Deadmau5. You do pronounce it just Deadmau5, right? This is Spiral Staircase. This one is named after the thing that they sing in the song sometimes. And again, you can see it's a completely new aesthetic. You know, I had been for a time thinking about doing, like, when this game came out and I was, like, into the making, right? Not enough where I was able to do, like, more than 3, but I definitely saw this one as, like, the final boss, you know? These 3 worlds are so disconnected, or these 3 levels are so disconnected. How can you make, like, your own Beck level? Oh, wow, this web is... I'm in the web. How can you make your own Beck level? There's kind of no consistency between the 3, areas. Yeah, there's a little bit of flying. I like this bit. What does this sleeping one say? Cool lyric. This is like a genuine song. Genuine song in addition to some cool gameplay. It had lyrics and everything, and if you, like, move at a good pace, the lyrics, they come out in the way that lyrics do, you know, with every other, like, stanza, or there must be a good term for saying one lyric after another in time with the music, progressing from one line to the next smoothly. fought so hard. We climbed so high. I think this one's the second best. I think the city one is the best. And then, you know, the weird green goo one is cool, and I like it. And, but it's the third of three. Kind of funny if you progress in the middle of a line. But also, it's fine. Hey, what are you gonna do? Stop and wait for the line to finish? I say the line. Lyric. Lyric is the word. Some real good, lyric reads there, I guess. I think it works really well as a song. I can see why people would like, Spiral Staircase and Cities to be released as, individual songs. Like, these two in particular, you could probably make them into actual songs if you, just arrange them a little bit. And probably touch the people as well. I don't know. Not a touch the people expert. I said we'd do it, and it's only like 10:40. We've been going around 2 hours. Let's do, these 3 car levels. This was like the one DLC they added to the game, and it's mostly just, hey, here's a tutorial, and then 2 levels that use the car. You can go really fast. That's kind of cool. You know, if they had like you can rotate, that's cool as well. There's a dangerous car. I guess this world is like a heavy metal world then. The car just sort of... Cars like this makes it so that you can, like, you kind of have to go into the heavy metal, don't you? If your car screams when you drive it, you kind of have, like, no two ways about it, right? I guess that kind of pigeonholes the whole mechanic a little bit. I mean, I guess I say that as if other mechanics aren't tied to musical sounds that are genre-specific. Whatever, I think you can use, like, any sort of drum in most kinds of music. You can use any sort of, like, piano synthesizer sound in basically any sort of music. Screaming, though? That's more limited. Screaming death sounds? A little more limited. And also, even then, like, how musical is it really if it's just the same scream endlessly, so long as you're, like, accelerating it? Let's see what the 2 levels that it did, the 2 actual levels it had were like. Yeah, let's just add a whole... Wait. This is, like, mostly just the music of the car. Okay, it's getting some stuff now. I feel like this is too much music from an object, right? Like the UFO, for instance, as an example. doesn't have this strong of a musical presence. Where, if you have nothing else but the UFO, you'd be just fine. Or the block of bugs in Beck's third level. That one also didn't have that much of a musical presence. Nope. No. Okay. I mean, this is a cool idea in theory, like, jetting around. I mean, objectively, this is a cooler vehicle than the UFO, but also it feels like the level sort of plays itself more as a result of the car. You know, let me say this. Much better car than Mario Maker's car, which no one has been able to figure out how to work with either, and everyone has basically abandoned to its fate. But, you know, I'll give it that much at least. It's better than Mario Maker's one. I wonder if they'll do anything to that in the sequel, in like Mario Maker 3. Will the car come over as is, as like a failed mechanic? Or will they do something like this, you know, add a second car? Okay, this one can jump higher, but at what cost? You know? Let's say you get one that's like a monster car that can jump good and stuff. It would be nice if there was, like, you know... How the fuck do you get up there? Ah. Like that. You know, you can just jump out of it, like it's about to crash. You jump out, you're safe, it's fine. This is really loud, isn't it? I guess that's heavy metal for you. Really loud, huh? Hopefully you can still hear me good. Cool levels, but I mean, I feel like this just feels like a proof of concept, you know? One that no one ever explored because, yeah, I don't know. I don't think there ever was really a community of people making, really. If there was, that would surprise me because I was, you know, I made some levels and I don't remember it being a big deal. You know, it was just sort of a fun thing I did. And then, you know, I moved on before even completing, like, all the ones I wanted to do. But you know, that happens. I'll say with Mario Maker 1, I originally wanted to do a whole super world there. I never did finish, only got like halfway done before I sort of drifted away from Mario Maker for a couple years. Also, one of my levels got deleted, and I was so fucking tilted by that. I was like, fuck this, I'm done. I'm out of here. Fuck this noise. And it wasn't until the sequel came out that I was like, okay, I'm willing to forgive and forget. That game is now, you know, all the levels are deleted now, so, you know, it's all water under the bridge now. I wonder if long-term it would be a good idea to try to, like, take all those old levels that I have in Mario Maker 1 and, like, convert them over to 2, or, you know, 3, let's say, for sake of example. I mean, I'll say I had, like, something like 60 levels, so it wouldn't be like it wouldn't be a trivial matter. You know, it would be a undertaking, and also it would take my my maker capacity. You know, it would take the level slots. It would take my level slots, but that would be a nice thing to do as far as like keeping that stuff alive. I think one thing I've seen talked about TikTok going down is that it's kind of a shame that, like, you know, so much culture from the last 10 years will be going down with it. You know, so much of just, like, youth culture is going down the drain with TikTok, and I agree. I think it's a shame. I think all the videos, all the stuff that's been on these streaming services, they should all be available in perpetuity. This should be reserved for the record. You know, in 100 years, if my nephew's kids want to see, like, what I was up to in 2025, me playing sound shapes, I think they should be able to do that. And I think it's kind of, you know, for my part, I think it's kind of a shame that not all of my streams were archived. The first, like, 6 months of them are all gone. I think that's a damn shame. That level wasn't great. That was kind of just a lot of noise. I told you to archive. Did you at the time? Like in 2020, 2021? Yeah, one thing I realized, like, after I started archiving them, like, putting them on YouTube, I realized, like, oh shit, I could have just exported them and just left them at private if I wasn't sure about, like, if I would need them. But that's a pro tip for y'all who are doing Twitch streams and you don't know if you're gonna post them to YouTube ever. Just export them to YouTube and leave them as private if you don't want to, like, you know, have them be out there, deal with comments, all that. It's, easier doing that than, remember, the day you started streaming, I told you? Oh, dang, really? I forgot about that. Yeah, that whole stream wasn't archived in the first place. I'll say, in that case, it was a little bit different for that first stream, because the problem there is that I wasn't set to archive at all. Like, that stream was just, you know, it was just onto the Twitch and then no archive, no VOD. Whereas the rest of them, they sort of just expired, because Twitch VODs, they expire. And then later I was like, okay, let's put it all on YouTube. And then, I had big regrets. I spent like a day or two trying to see, like, does it exist? Can I find it anywhere? Can I retrieve any of these? I would especially like to have, like, the complete playthrough. You know, at the time I was in the middle of, like, a playthrough, or the first VOD that didn't expire was, like, the midway through Link Between Worlds. And I was like, it'd be great if I could get the first stream of that and have that be archived as well, but nah, just the first stream of me playing, like, a bunch of that is just gone. What are you gonna do? You know, just move forward, I guess. Shame. Shame. If ever there was a time machine invented that could, like, recover such lost media, that would be, well, that'd be a godsend for multiple reasons outside of my dumb ass, but, you know. But, you know, yeah. So, obviously, the servers are long since down. There are no downloaded levels. There's no, there's nothing here as far as that goes. But I will say, I do have 3 levels of my own, and I would like to show those before we end here. Beck's album is really great. Right, we're doing the Wheelie one. This one just comes off as like a tutorial, and also it's not very good musically. I think this, maybe it's just like music by Queasy Games. That's what music by the developers gets you. I don't know though. It's like if Beck is like, this music is like really damn good, like Beck music, like on par with Beck's usual outputs. If this is like on par with Dead Mau, if Hello World is like a really good, you know, what the fuck genre is I Am Robot I'm Proud? Electronic, lighthearted thing. This is just a sad excuse for metal. That said, we have 3 last levels to show. We've showed all the games, all the albums from the original game. We've been going about 2.5 hours. I have just 3 more for you. We'll go in chronological order, the order that I made them, which I guess isn't the order in which I have these saved for some reason. Go figure. So this first one, I'll set it up, I guess, before we get into it. It's called An Escape, and at the time, 2012, I believe when this game came out, and I remember the context of the song, it was during my first internship. I say my first internship. My internship that I had during college, and it was the one internship I did. It was my first, like, experience with honest-to-God work, and, you know, going into an office every day for a whole work day, and then coming home at the end of the day, and, you know, wanting to enjoy my time between work. So this is sort of like an expression of that, dealing with work for the first time. So you see here, you sort of start in an office. I'm not sure like how many notes I have compared to the normal levels, but maybe a lot. I'm quite fond of this song, by the way. I think I did a good job. And, you know, this was, I guess, low-key, you know, speaking of... I mentioned before that this game was, like, the first game I made levels in, and this would naturally then be the first level I made. So you just get out of the office, and then you're in, like, a big world where anything's possible, and I just sort of put a little bit of everything in there. I missed one of the notes. I'll go back for it. I died, so now I get to... There we go. Meant to do that. I forgot these mushrooms. They sort of quiver when you touch them. Cool. I don't know, like, it has much of a... I sort of just put notes where they sounded good and went in weird directions with the song, I guess. Also, I like this bit where It looks like a big scary thing, but you actually jump and you hit it in the screen above you, and you can just go right over the mess. I thought that was a fun thing to do. Then you drop, and the music falls out, and as you pass from this room to the next, the music from earlier in the level starts back up as you return to the office that you started out in. Definitely an expression, like I said, an expression of the first time you can see how that works, by the way, is that these notes are 2 screens away from here, so they affect this one as well as they pop in when you come here, but not 1 screen away. I'm fond of that level. I'm fond of that thing, and you know, it's definitely like you know, since then I've worked a job, you know, like 6 months, you know, like a year after that I got a full-on fucking job, and then I had that job for 10 years, and then now I have a different job, you know, sit for like a year now. So like, corporate life is what I got now, and I definitely still do, like, try to get as much out of the nighttime as possible, the time between work sessions, between work days. You know, it is a joyous thing to be off work for the day, and one that, you know, I feel ways about. Like I said earlier, when I was going through the earlier albums, like the actual shoot albums, I say shoot. I don't usually say shoot on stream, because it's a in joke of giant bombs. As I was saying during the actual albums in this actual game, shoot is like wrestling lingo that Giant Bomb likes to abuse. Do they still say shoot? I don't think I've heard Dan Reichert say shoot in a minute. I wanted to make, like, my own versions of, like, the level that could be from the individual worlds there. So I made a Hello World level, and I made the Office one level, and then I burnt out on making before doing the other 3 major albums, unfortunately. They still speak in Carney? Is that what we call it? We call it Carney? Is wrestling's talk Carney talk? I mean, I know it's like that's the root of it. I would figure that wrestling talk is like a distinct dialect from Carney, even if it's like from there. This is Hello Pantheon, which was inspired by and uses the assets from Hello World. Wrestling used to be part of carnivals? Oh yeah, I like The Strongest Man and all that, yeah. Makes sense. It's fun to collect the notes. It's fun to, like, make your way around, and, you know, as you do, the song fills up. I say this when I'm playing my own level and not when I'm playing the existing out-of-the-box levels. I was saying it during those as well. But I tried to be creative in, like, how to route the player and, you know, the environments you were moving towards. gameplay, etc. I think I did a good job for, like, what literally predates all my Mario Maker. You know, this was 2012, you know, this was, I guess, 4 years? Was Mario Maker 2015 or 2016? Or 2014? In any case, it was years before Mario Maker. By the way, little Easter egg here, if you drop here, there's nothing good here. But there is a cool room full of bass and, negative stuff. I like this, this is sort of like a temple situation. You're sort of going, like, into it, and it's full of lava and weird, like, statue heads. You can see what's all around, and all the theming I did. And you can sort of hear pretty clearly, like, as the song starts to fill out. With each room, it gets a little bit, it loses a little bit, and you replace it. You know, unless the song is, like, settling down or whatever. Which I think it might be. Yep. I'll say it, this is sure as hell a lot better than my first couple Mario Maker levels. I'll say straight up, like, my first couple Mario Maker levels were just sort of like, I put some Goombas, I put some moving platforms, let's go. That's good enough. It's kind of fun to have to run around these Goombas, even though they just completely walk off the fucking ledge into the pit if you just, like, stand still for a minute. Not my best design, but, you know, it's like, you gotta start somewhere. Somehow I started pretty okay here. Finally, I have one more confidential, which, sort of a more high concept idea, I guess. Oh, I guess because the levels, they all had, like, 1 through 4 written on the monitor there, I made my own one with 0. See? Sort of ties into the original level. Here, I should. It'll take a little longer, but I'm gonna show off a gimmick here. I'm gonna, like, build up to it a little bit. So here, it'll make sense in a minute. So here you're going through, you're collecting the notes. Pretty straightforward. There's this room with these guys. You have to avoid their crap. Just a nice checkpoint, actually. In some cases, I feel like the checkpoints in this sort of compensate for, like, oh, this jump is weird. Just put a checkpoint right there, and if they fuck it up, it's like, it's fine, you're just right there. Try again, and you're done. Oh, that's weird. The level's, that was a really short level, huh? You can jump into the thing and then see, like, oh, I got 22 of 80. There's a lot more notes, but you didn't see them. Well, let's do it again. Like I said, it's gonna take a minute longer to actually show the gimmick here, considering that's, gotta start over. But also, it's the last one, and this stream has not gone super long. I will say again, we did start late. I did have some technical issues, like, up front. I've been having some weird stuff with my, my webcams recently. They've been making me unplug and replug it to, get them to work. And, they just randomly disconnected right before the stream today, so I had to do some stuff to get it all working. So here's the key. So you climb up on this, and you go on the ceiling, and then you go into the vent. And you find, like, a whole fucking fucking, like, you know, the idea of this world is that there's, like, a corporate secret, you know? It's like a world beyond where they... Corporate secrets, you know? Like, beyond what they want to show you. Not sure how I'm phrasing that. You're delving into the behind the scenes and finding out, like, oh, you know, here's a bunch of their dirty laundry. I guess. And then eventually going through the areas from earlier in the level. Like, here you are in the earlier part, and now you're in the big, like, oh my god, toxic waste, oh no. I mean, I guess that's no more, like, really evil than what's in the base game, you know, the like, landfills, basically, of robotic waste, but I think it's cool. Whole optional part of the level where you find most of its music. You got the room with the CEOs in it. We're about to make it back to the thing. Oh yeah, there's that security guard that's down there. That's a place you can't get to anyway. The door he opens is inaccessible, so it doesn't matter that you can't hit him. And by the time you get back here, it's a lot more fleshed out. That was the extent of my sound shapes work. Those 2 levels. You know, like I said, it was the first time I ever made, and I think I made some pretty good shit, honestly. I think I made a couple good levels, ones that I am proud of to this day. And, you know, I think they're cool. I think this game is cool. I think this game is a hell of a good thing. Oh, replaying it again? I don't know if every song really holds up. I don't know if, like, every album holds up. I'll say again, just looking through the campaign here, like, Beck, Deadmau, and Hello World, those ones are definitely the best. Corporeal is pretty good. I'd say Corporeal is a solid, like, I would put it, like, right below Hello World, I guess, if I was ranking them. And then Beyonder is, at least it's a vibe. At least it's a vibe. Do you really want to hurt me? Tutorial, it's a thing. It's more like the tutorial than it is, like, the actual albums. And it's not a great one, for what it's worth. But, you know, whatever. That sound shapes. I guess I have no more to say. It's 11 o'clock. A perfectly good time to end the stream. I've been kind of thinking about, you know, that I should have more short streams and not go all night if I can help it. I guess I could, you know, if I wanted to play something else, I could. I got other games, but let's not be silly. This is the sound shape stream, and, you know, the VOD will just be sound shapes as well, naturally. What else would it be? If I played something else, that would make it weird on the VOD end later on. You know, we talked a bit about, like, you know, not just looking back to 2012 during the stream, but also to, like, earlier when I was a streamer. Play Yakuza? Jeez, I haven't played that particular Yakuza. The Yakuza 0... I guess it shows, like, how little I play my PlayStation 5. Yakuza 0, I think I might have not played it at all on this particular console. I think I just installed it No, actually, no. PS5 God of War Ragnarok is below 0. I mean, I might have reinstalled it after deleting it to save space or something, and that put it above that. Honestly, if I were to play Yakuza, I should play the newest one that I really have not spent that much time in, the Infinite Wealth. I haven't played that in like a couple weeks now, on account of I've kind of moved on from last year. I've kind of moved on from that. Not really playing much else though right now, other than Marvel Rivals and a little bit of Pokemon Pockets, which I could do like a poll. You know what? Fuck it. Let's I can do a pull on that probably. I think I'm up for one. Let me see if I can get that's the wrong window. The screen mirroring broke, I guess, at some points. Go figure. Let me see if I re-mirror if this will allow it to capture again. Whatever. Whatever, you know, I kind of want to save that pack until tomorrow so it can count for a daily quest anyway. You know, I like to just do... I haven't played an actual match of Pokemon Pocket in a minute, but I still get my free packs, and I'm saving up hourglasses for the next expansion, which is cool. Let's wrap up here. Sound Shapes is great. I love Sound Shapes. It has a soft spot in my heart as the first place that I made a level. Looking back on them, you know, and looking back on the game, there are definitely like, you know, playing it again, I definitely felt like, ooh, I felt like this was more impressive, but maybe just, it's more of a vibe than a thing that you look at and go like, see, this rules. This is great. You know, it's more of an experience than it is like something you can point to and be like, look, it's like Astrobot, it's that good. I will say again, put Sound Shapes in Astrobots. Put the little guy with the little, I really don't know how you would model that, and it's sort of abstract, his gooey little massy form. But I would like him to be in Sound Shapes, or I would like Sound Shapes Man to be an Astrobot. It was a PlayStation exclusive. It was on Vita, for Christ's sake. It was on 3 and 4. It was like a serious exclusive. And there are deep cuts in Astrobots. So, you know, wouldn't be out of the question. There are deep cuts that actually require an equal level of, like, commitments, you know, not fitting the usual Astrobot robot mold, you know what I mean? Hopefully, as they add more DLC to Astrobots, this little fella, that little fella, who I was covering with my body, hopefully he'll be a bigger part of it. Pull up the old schedule. I'll be back on Friday for viewer levels, and then I'm thinking around Sunday, around 4 p.m. Central, this next weekend, I'm gonna do Wind Waker Randomizer. 3 dungeons required for that. I think that sounds like a good number of dungeons, and also I have more checks turned on this time, so it won't be me like bouncing around to the dungeons and getting stuck, because it turns out there's last randomizer where I did Wind Waker the first time, I did dungeons only, and I turned off all the checks other than dungeon, and it turns out that makes for a very linear experience where you're just like, oh, there's like one thing I can get. Oh, and now there's like 10 things I can check, but I got one item from those, and that one lets me go to one more place. Oh, crap. It ended up just being like very much going to the one place I can go, going to the one place I can go. This one will be a lot more open because I'm just going to have all the regular island stuff that is like on major islands mostly. I'll talk about the setup of that later. on that stream itself, but I'm looking forward to that. Wind Waker's great, and it's gonna be a fun randomizer. There'll also be something next Tuesday, I think, maybe. We'll see. We'll see if, like, that, Wind Waker stream makes me want to take Tuesday off. You know, if it's like if I do, like, a 10-hour Wind Waker stream on Sunday, and then, will I want to do something else on Tuesday? I don't know, but maybe Mario Maker. Maybe I'll work on my next level next Tuesday. That's, fun. And then, you know, the viewer levels on Friday, as usual. As I sit here, I realize we didn't talk about, we mentioned the Switch, but we didn't mention, that there's a new Donkey Kong Country Returns port coming out, and people are saying it's a little bit rough around the edges. Like, performance-wise, all that. Kinda sad, but, what are you gonna do? It's an old game, and, not anyone's priority, I guess. I'll probably buy that and play through it as well off-stream, I imagine. But, you know, maybe don't if you're already, like, fixed good Donkey Kong Country Return-wise. I guess that would be, like, the statement you should make. I'm, like, a big Donkey Kong Country fan, so I gotta get it. I gotta just have that, all the Donkey Kong Country games on my Switch, but don't be like me. Don't be like me. Let me do a raid for people on the Twitch end. Rock Party, presumably. Anyone else? Let me see who's online, who I can send you to. Oh, I can send you to Linkus, great! Linkus7 plays, Wind Waker a lot of the time. He is currently not playing Wind Waker, I think. He's playing something else, but, I like his, randomizer stuff, and he's one of the reasons why I'm doing, Wind Waker Randomizer. And one of the reasons I want to do Wind Waker Randomizer is that I like watching Wind Waker Randomizer, and I think it's a fun thing. And he also is like a speedrunner of Wind Waker of a big renown and like a huge, like, popular dude. He was on day one of AGDQ and is very well known, to the point where my tiny ass raid won't make, that much of an impression, I bet, considering he has like 600 folks there today, but whatever, that's fine. What are you gonna do? I'll see you on, Friday for Mario Maker, and then on Sunday for, Wind Waker, and then we'll see next week what else I end up doing. TBD, Friday, bye folks. Getting ready to end here. Okay, bye folks, y'all have a good one. See you on Friday.